But yeah, I don't know. I don't like talking about me.
Oh,
So,
well, it's just conversation.
right.
So,
Why does it have to? That's weird.
what?
You hit do not disturb and then it asks you how long until you leave.
Oh,
Until I leave
until
this
until
location.
you leave. Wait,
I
that
didn't
must
know.
be a new updated
Yeah, first time I've seen it.
thing. Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, what do we talk about
Well,
without like it is the podcast started or do you just go back and then find a start spot?
no, well, I need to say, I will start right now.
Okay.
Hi, welcome to Sarah Chat's podcast. Today I have a really good friend of mine, Christian.
So
I forgot.
so what
You're just like, no, literally, Arlen. I had his brother on the podcast like last year, and Arlen was like, "What's up?"
yeah, it's so weird. It's like, okay, now talk, like wait, and then now say it, now do your thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah, dude, it's just a conversation. We've had conversations so many
yeah,
times.
yeah, exactly.
But speaking of conversations, you literally just started your own podcast.
Yeah, yep. It is me and a friend, Jonas Flood. I don't know, we'll see where it goes, but we're taking it one step at a time.
Yeah.
So it's kind of yeah, very very new. We just have one episode out, but
Okay.
it's yeah, we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah. And what's your podcast called?
It's called the Knowledge Knuckleball. I'm not sure how we came up with that, but
What's the knuckleball?
it's so it started with the term a learning curve.
Yeah.
Like when you're trying to figure something out, it's a learning curve. You got to I don't know, kind of wrap your brain around it. And then
Yeah.
we're like, that's kind of a cool idea, but it's too obvious to call it the learning curve. And then
Okay.
we're like, take the curve and apply that to baseball, like a curveball,
Okay.
and then but instead of a curveball, it'd be a knuckleball. It's a baseball pitch, like the
Oh.
knuckleball.
Oh.
So it's how you throw it and the ball. It doesn't spin a lot. It has
Okay.
very sporadic movement, so it's kind of a
Oh.
very deceptive pitch.
Oh, is that when people like strike out and
Yeah,
stuff?
and it's
Okay.
kind of the
Is
idea
it
behind it.
is that like a hard throw? Like can anybody just do a knuckleball?
Not really. It takes
Okay.
a lot of practice, and it
Okay.
kind of is a weird. It's a very I don't know how to describe it, but it looks like it shouldn't do what it does. Like it just kind of goes all over the place, and it's very deceptive.
Fascinating.
But so we just liked it. It sounded cool. Knowledge knuckleball. Hey,
Yeah.
sounds cool.
No, it's a
And
catchy
then
it's a catchy
and then
title.
then I really was putting some thought into that. It's like okay, what is knowledge knuckleball and like um, can you apply that to life? Like
Hmm.
you do that is kind of what knowledge is. It helps you if you use it right, it can help you to really overcome things and
Yeah.
it kind of can seem sporadic sometimes, but it's actually very I don't know. The more and more I think about the name, it's actually more profound than I thought it was in the beginning. We were just kind of like knowledge knuckleball sounds cool. Let's
Yeah,
go
it
for it.
sounds cool.
And
It's
then
very catchy, but then it does
yeah,
actually
it's
have a profound theme.
yeah. And we're and I'm still thinking about it more and more and realizing how cool it actually sounds
Yeah.
and what it actually means. So
Yeah.
it might change. What it means might keep changing, but
Yeah. No, I get
but
it. So like to you, what is the purpose of knowledge?
oh yeah, I did text you about that. Um, that's
Because
a
it's a really good question.
yeah,
Like there are so many. Because I was thinking about this. There are so many people who pursue knowledge,
right,
right? And they know so many things. It can be either for the advancement of careers, right? We go to
right,
college. I went to college. I have a degree in psychology. I understand people. I understand why they do the things they do. All these things, right? I don't actually understand myself. You know, 90% of the time. So there's that. But other people, pursue knowledge just to know things. People are curious. Um, but yeah.
yeah. It's something that I've probably it was on my mind a lot because I struggle with just learning things and then not applying them,
Mm,
and then so it's I guess I like asking the question why
yeah.
to everything. So
Yeah.
okay, why do I keep wanting to learn more and more things? What's the point?
Hmm.
Because eventually I'm just going to spin out and know a bunch of
You're
things,
going to know a
but
bunch of things and then
and then
not
have
actually
zero skills to apply it to life.
exactly.
And the other thing I was along with that is I was trying to figure out why the more intellectual type of people tend to be more this is going to sound weird, but like socially awkward almost. So
Yeah.
they they're so smart, but they can't apply that to life. And so I was trying to figure out how to, or why that is, and how to avoid, or how to use knowledge for what it actually should be.
Yeah.
Because if we pursue knowledge for the sake of pursuing knowledge, that's a scary place to be, because we end up with knowing everything and we can't apply it to anything. We're just living in our head. So
that is I never thought of it that I've never thought
so
this. Yeah.
So that's something I've been just trying to process through, and yeah, kind of along with the thinking about the knowledge knuckleball thing. Why do I want knowledge? Why do I want to know all these things? What's the point? Because I use the analogy of, this little cars as a kid that you like wind up.
You wind up and they go shooting forward. Yeah.
And the knowledge part of it is the winding up, like the cranking back.
Yeah.
You stop, and if you don't do anything with it, this is what I see for me. I spin out. It's like picking the car up and it's like, there's no point to it. But if you apply it to life, and then the car actually goes somewhere and it uses all that was put into it, and it's actually then it can actually, there's fruit that
pushing you forward. Yeah. You're growing.
You get some
personal growth, different things. Yeah.
So that's kind of where and the other thing I often think about is how weird it is to, shoot, how do I say this? I think about it in the woods.
Oh, because you're a hunter.
Yeah, I'm a deer hunter, so I sit out in the woods a lot. And
good for you.
so you're sitting there and you're processing through problems or whatever in life.
Yeah.
And you come to a conclusion. It's like, sweet, I came to a conclusion, or I figured something out. But if you zoom out and take 100 acres of woods, what changed there? Like, nothing in life changed. The only thing is something shifted in my brain. So nothing happens by figuring something out.
Yeah.
But you have to apply that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that makes sense or not.
No, I am following.
Yeah, so and then kind of back to what's the purpose of knowledge? You can sit there and figure things out all day long, but if you don't do anything with it, it's very, very pointless.
Exactly.
And so yeah, lately I'm trying to put more action in my life, and try to go somewhere instead of just like sitting there spinning out.
Yeah. How would you say you're pursuing knowledge within the Christian aspect of life, within Christianity?
It would be, so it's kind of a scary thing to go, or a scary road to go down with, especially on the theological side of it, because you can just keep going and totally miss the point of Christianity.
Exactly.
So somehow I think part of it is, knowledge is also the ability to, you have to be smart enough to put it into action. So that's part of knowledge. So you just need the right kind of knowledge. And if you completely miss that, then you can sound smart, but it doesn't, the smart people are the ones that actually apply that.
Yeah. So for instance, I'm just going to cut you off 1 second, because when you were saying that, there's this person that I know, we're not going to mention any names on the podcast, maybe off, but this person has like a PhD, whatever, in theology. But when he preaches, I've heard him preach about 4 or 5 times, and 4 times out of the 5 times, he literally preached the exact same message, same handout, everything. And he's also the individual is very socially awkward, cannot relate to people. And I'm like, what is the point in going to college, having a PhD, like one of the highest levels of education in theology and biblical studies, and you only preach one sermon, one message, the same exact message over and over and over again? Like, it's good. Like, I understand, but like, come on, brother.
Yeah. There has to be the finding fulfillment in learning scares me a little bit, because then you just chase that.
Yeah.
Instead of what do people like there? What do people actually need to hear instead of
Yeah.
just here's what I learned and here you need to hear it again and again.
Well, I mean, he baffles me. It like blows my mind every single time because like how can you not have anything else to say or to like share about the Bible or that you've learned? Why is it always the same exact, very in depth? Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, in that case, knowledge really isn't doing him any favor. Well, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's almost keeping him in one spot and not allowing him, not
No,
allowing
that's not
growth.
the case.
Okay.
We understand that, but that's not the case. Do you think social media is helping or hurting the way people connect to religion or Christianity,
Mm,
their faith?
I would say it's kind of funny you asked that question because I was thinking about it's very similar to thinking through things.
Hmm.
If you can use it as a tool
Hmm.
and actually use it in real life,
Hmm.
but if you just live on social media
Yeah,
and that that's your that's the end, like that's where it stops, it's very harmful in the same
yeah,
way where you can learn all you want, but if you don't actually apply it to your life and
yeah.
use that to help you help others, then it's yeah very yeah I don't see it as a good thing. And just in Christianity in general, it's we are we're supposed to be like the body of Christ and interact with each other.
Hmm.
And there's some aspects of it that are helpful, but for the most part, yeah, I think like in person and face to face, and that's
The community,
yeah, the community
the
aspect of it is
church.
what needs to
Yeah.
be focused on, I think.
No,
So
that's true. I see a lot of like, so I follow a lot of, Christian influencers because, why not? But I also see where the new generation, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they're getting a lot of their religion slash their Christianity views off of social media, like TikTok and Instagram, because they don't have a church or anything to go to, so they find their community online, and it's from these social media influencers, which isn't all bad. But then we also have the very popular deconstructed influencers who are preaching a narrative that isn't the gospel.
right,
It's a side gospel. It's their gospel, their truth.
right.
Um, and so then these kids, the younger generation thinks this is truth and they follow that, but they don't actually go to the Bible to get firsthand knowledge of what the truth
Right.
is.
The scary part with that is you don't know, you only see what the people put on social media.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I can go to church and have input from people in like, hey, ask people about how to handle certain situations, but I can also see how they handle
Hmm.
everything in life. Like
Yeah,
I mean, not everything, but
but like a
yeah, it's
majority
not
of the
just to
things.
post on social media and be like, oh, this is what I do and this is how I handle things. It's
Yeah.
like you see those people, yeah, a few times a week, and you know
Mhm.
that they're not just yeah. You can tell because you interact with them in
Yeah.
person.
And you do like life with them.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to judge somebody's character and how they're actually walking versus on social media. You just see
You see all
some
the good.
you don't even they don't even have to have a job. They can
No,
like they can
I
just be
know.
like, hey, this
They're
is
behind a camera all
yeah,
day in a room by
exactly.
themselves.
Yeah,
Yep. No, it's true. Yeah. So I think it's true. Like, it can be harmful, but then we do have some good, good solid people. But I feel like a lot of times it's not the solid, theologically sound um, influencers who are being seen. It's the
that
clickbait
yeah
ones.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Because who doesn't want to watch a
talk really
video
well.
on how the church ruined your life?
I,
Like,
I watch
yeah,
them all.
exactly. Yeah,
I'm not gonna
Everybody
lie.
wants to see that
I do.
video.
I watch I watch a lot of them. Also, I am a, I did YWAM, all the things, right? So all the negative things going on, like TikTok, Instagram, there's like so many people who are sharing their negative experiences, right? Every
Yeah,
organization has, horrible things.
right.
That happened, and I'm like sitting there watching every single one, and I'm like, girl, you share that story. That was horrible. I'm in my mind, I'm not,
Right.
but I'm like, but at the same time, I'm like sympathizing with them. But at the same time, I didn't have a negative experience. Like I had a really good
Right.
experience. But it's funny because someone just asked me recently, would I recommend, um, so and so to do a YWAM DTS? And I'm like, there are some other things that I think I would recommend before a DTS because I've seen, which I honestly, I have like, I had an amazing experience, but it seems like a lot of the people, like I know quite a few friends who returned home. They were so caught up in the doing life with people for like 6 7 months, always on like that high,
Right.
right? um Always having, being surrounded by community. They come home to a place where there isn't any community. They don't have community,
Right.
they don't have good friends, and it's trying to reassimilate back into this type of culture, and it's really hard,
Yeah.
and they just like fall away. I've seen so
Hmm.
many so
That's
many so
interesting.
many people, and I have so many friends, and I'm like, it's so sad. I think they should do better at teaching people how to reassimilate back into your own culture. Even if there isn't that community, go and find it. You
Right.
know, go get plugged into a church. Um,
I I think one of the things that is our everyday life. I don't think a Christian's life should be different on the mission field versus when
mhm,
you live where you grow up. Like
mhm.
that's where you're called to for that time. So I think we get it in our heads that you're on a different mode when you go overseas or whatever.
Mhm.
And I've been trying to just apply, um, just share the gospel, pray for people around
Yeah.
here, and then if you have that as your lifestyle, and then you go wherever God calls you,
Yeah.
it doesn't create that separation that I guess. Yeah, I mean, sure, there's hype and stuff when you go on a trip for a month or whatever, but it's life wherever
Yeah.
you are, and then
Mhm.
you start living that now, I guess, and
Yeah.
then you go wherever God calls you.
Yeah.
So that would be one thing I would see that, yeah, it's easy to it's easy to go somewhere for a couple of weeks and get all excited and then come back and be like, oh, life sucks again. It's like,
Yeah.
no, like we're supposed to have that energy in our everyday
In
life,
our everyday life. Yeah.
and
Um,
if I yeah, I want that in my everyday life, not just a few weeks out of the year or
yeah.
whatever. So
No, that's true. Also, I think it really, um, if you know who you are in Christ and you're rooted and grounded, coming back to something hard shouldn't shake your faith. I think that also plays into it. It's
right,
easy to, when you're surrounded with like so many people for such a long time, you tend to rely on people and not on Jesus. And
right,
so you get
yeah,
all of your affirmation and you get all of your what you need from people
right,
instead of from God. It's more of a this instead
right,
of a this.
right, yeah, exactly.
Also, I say you should probably be, I mentioned being plugged into a church, etc. Boy, I'm not plugged into a church right now. I left the one church that I was at and now I'm going to another one, but I'm not like plugged in.
Right.
So I, you know, that's knowledge. It's not me applying
Yeah.
it.
Hey,
All of a
well,
sudden I'm like, oh,
now
yeah,
you know. I
no,
mean,
I
yeah. I mean, and there's seasons to everything, and
yeah,
more and more I just lean back and trust God with. I mean, yeah, there's still action required on my part, but just trust God, and He has a good plan, and
yeah,
that's
it's
very
true.
comforting. It's like, hey, you can just kind of takes the pressure off to, well, it takes the pressure of not knowing if you're going to make the wrong decision. Like,
Yeah.
like, oh my word, like what am I going to do here?
Yeah.
But if you just lean on God and you know that He's going to guide you, yeah, you still have to act, but
Yeah.
it takes a lot of the fear and the unknown and the concerns and stuff like that
Yeah.
away.
How do you, because you said you share the gospel, pray with people, how do you share your faith with people who are very much like against Christianity? Not against per se, but like they've been hurt by Christianity and they don't really want to be a part of Christianity or around Christians, but like you meet someone who, might be a great person, and you feel led to share your faith in some form, some way, nothing like crazy, but like how
Right.
would you go about doing that?
Hmm. That's a loaded question.
Yeah, because that's what we do here.
Yeah. It seems it seems people like that. They know they, especially people that have walked away or have had past hurts, they know deep down they know they rejected something.
Yeah.
And so just to have that door open and show them love, because
Hmm.
if they've been hurt, they don't need more condemnation thrown at them. Now, obviously, if they're not saved, then they still need to know the truth, and that's the knowing the truth of what happens and how your life is going to go
Hmm.
is kind of the beginning of what starts leading you to Christ. So you have to
Yeah.
tell them the truth, but you have to show them love, or else they're not going to accept it, and they're just going to go, "You're just another one of those people that, yeah, like
Yeah.
they'll just be like, see you bye." So
Do you show them love first or do you speak truth first?
I don't do it enough to to have
No,
a
I don't
system.
know why. No, because I say that because, and I asked that question because like last week a friend of mine sent me a photo of me preaching or sharing the gospel. We were in another country. We were out of high school and I was sharing the gospel, and because that's what I had to do. Oh, I hate standing in front of people. Like, I love sharing my faith. Well, okay, let's be real. I actually haven't shared my faith that much recently in the last few years. So, what am I saying? But it was what I loved doing in
Right.
the past. It should be again. We're just being all real and honest here because,
Yeah.
it's straight up.
It's a
But
struggle.
my friend sent me this photo and she's like, dude, remember this day? And I'm like, I do. And I was like hit like with I like all these memories and stuff. And I remember there were like 5 people who gave their life to Christ, and we were able to like plug them into a church. I don't know. I haven't like connected with any of them in years. I say years, man. It sounds like a long time. It has been a long time, but I'm like, I loved it. Was something that I genuinely loved doing. It was my life, and now I've become a Lancasterian. I don't like
Yeah,
it.
and
I
all
don't.
focused on work and
Yeah, work
social
and
life.
you know all the things. So what social life do I have? it's it's becoming very lacking
Hmm.
at this point. But I'm just like, all of a sudden I was filled with like conviction, and I'm like, where's my love for God? Like, where's my love for people?
Right.
Am I not loving people the way God loves people? I'm obviously not seeing them the way God sees them, because if I was, I literally couldn't just like stand back and not do things and say things. Because there have been moments where I've seen people and I know that they were hurting, but I just kept on walking.
Yeah. It
And that's
it's
what we do in Lancaster
yeah.
County.
And that's a struggle. It's something I struggle with, is like, why is it so hard? And it helps. Like, I'm genuinely interested in people usually. Like,
Hmm.
so that helps a lot to just
Yeah.
go up and talk to people. Um, and I feel that's a gift that God has given me, just to talk to people. So that
Hmm.
that helps. And then it's like, why do I not want to talk to these people? Like,
Yeah.
everybody wants to be seen in some
Every,
type of way.
yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, it's kind of a win-win almost. I mean, there's some people that they don't want to talk to you, but
Yeah.
hey,
Those
that's
people make me nervous. I don't know what to do.
well,
Whew.
yeah, it I guess it helps to create a story in your own head of what those people are thinking, or
Hmm.
like
It's true.
it's
That's
like
true.
okay, they're probably having a really bad day, and
Yeah.
that's why that it's not. Yeah, just kind of look at it that way and just
Yeah.
choose to. Um, yeah, we can choose what kind of story we put or assign to people, I guess, because most
Yeah.
times we do. We just
We do. We really
we're
do.
just like, oh, they must think well, it's like, well, maybe they're in a hurry or something like
Yeah.
that. And so if we just kind of yeah, then it doesn't bother you as much,
Yeah.
especially when you try to talk to somebody, they just keep walking. It's like, no, they know the drill.
It's I know, right? And then there's also so going up to people and saying, "Hey, can I pray for you?" You know, like strangers. Like if you feel like God highlighted them and you go up to them and say, "Hey, can I pray for you?" Most of the time it's like, "Oh yeah." Or just say, "Hey, how are you?" Or "I noticed you," whatever, starting a conversation. But then there's always that you think the negative response where so many people are like, "Oh, are they Jehovah Witnesses?" Or like, and
Yeah,
nothing against them,
right,
right?
right.
What's the other one? Mormons?
Yeah,
Okay, which ones do the two by two?
um,
They both do, don't they?
they probably do.
There's a Jehovah Witness church right down the road.
Also, they're always here.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. But like if you think about it, they are literally like I'm actually fascinated and impressed because they share the gospel or their form of the gospel with everybody. Like they be out here going door to door. How many Christians, like, I'm not saying they're not Christians, but like evangelical people, um, we don't do that. Which,
Yeah,
and I don't
and
think you know it's something that has to be done by everybody. But like they out here sharing,
yeah,
sending out their tracks and sharing the
right.
gospel and trying to reach everybody.
There's a few things. I mean, one is they're kind of doing it for the wrong reason
It's true.
because they're kind of doing it out of fear.
It's
And
true.
but the other thing is, there's those people are weird, right? So we don't want to be like them, and that's why we just shut. We just completely like
We don't want
stay
to be
away.
like,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So I think it's kind of I don't know. It just because somebody does it wrong doesn't mean there's not a right way to do it,
exactly.
and that's I'm starting to try to apply that to just every area of my
Every
life.
area,
That
yeah.
in the past you look back, you're like, oh, that like a situation or whatever. You're like, oh, I don't want to do that again. So you
Yeah.
like totally flip to as far away as that from that as possible.
Hmm.
And no, there's a right way to do that.
Yeah.
And it's yeah, just kind of remembering that. It really it gives you confidence, I guess, when you know there's a right way to do everything.
Hmm.
You don't really have to yeah worry near as much. And yeah, I don't know how you get there, but
No, I don't know how to get there either. Do you think we as Christians are doing enough
for what?
for the kingdom?
So
I don't know. I just opened my mouth and
yeah,
words came out. Like, okay, do you feel like Christians as a whole, well, okay. So statistically in America, not globally, but in America, it's like what is it? 72% of Americans say that they're Christians, right? And the reason they're Christian is because they believe Jesus is real. They believe in an afterlife, like pretty much heaven. The hell part, not really. And they believe the Bible is mostly true. So therefore, I am Christian. But then out of that 72%, about 47, I think, the last numbers, like 47% are like Christian. And within that 47%, like 52 or something percent of that is like people who are 40 to like 60 years of age.
interesting.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it
So,
is. And I think, or I
well,
don't
the
know.
question would be, do you think Christians represent Jesus well today within America?
Depends. Generally, not the best always, but how much
Why
of that
is
is
it?
just social media people like
Oh,
the
this is true.
because
This is true
we're
because social media plays a huge
right.
part in the perception of anything and everything.
Right. I know a lot of Christians that are,
Amazing people
yeah, and
and
they were really
represent
giving
Jesus
life and
well.
stuff, and
Yeah,
there's no social media posts about that. So
it's
I
true.
mean, there should be, but it's there's way more. It's easier to make a story about something bad that happened, and people will watch that.
Yeah.
So I don't.
It's terrible because I'm there. I'm watching all the negative stuff and I'm just like, this is funny. Anyway, it's horrible. Anyway,
So
continue.
yeah. So I'm trying to think what I was gonna say with that, but it's yeah. You asked if Christians are representing Christ well. Probably not the best. I mean, we can always do better, obviously.
Hmm.
There is a lot of people doing it right or as close to right as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Um, and I think we need to, I think it takes each individual just walking that out. And that's when you see the biggest difference because it's very inspiring to me when I see somebody like that. And it makes me want to be more, yeah,
Yeah.
just bring life to any room you walk into and
Yeah.
just be there for people. Yeah, I'm trying to think where I was going to go somewhere with this, but
And then I
it's kind of
interrupted you.
well, not really.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah, it takes effort too.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
true.
a and the other thing is it's easy to think like, oh, God is sovereign and he can do whatever he wants. Like, so
Hmm.
hey, yeah, I don't really feel like talking to that person. If God really wants him, he'll get a hold of him. And it's like,
Mm,
no, we are the body of Christ.
yeah.
So we are Christ reaching out to that
Yeah, we
person.
are
And
his
that's yeah,
vessels.
exactly.
If we aren't going to say anything, what does it say in the old where is it? The rocks will cry out.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
giving Isaiah, but I don't know if it's Isaiah. It's
Giving
just
Isaiah.
um
Yeah.
that verse is wild though when you actually think about it. Like if no one's going to stand and proclaim
And it's
who
not
God is.
it's not the trees that cry out, it's a rock.
The,
And what is a rock? There's not
it's
life there. It's just this solid
this
block of something.
yeah.
And yeah, so it's not like a tree that actually has leaves and fruit and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. It's like a rock.
Yeah.
So what does that say? That it's gonna
The it's like the deadest of the dead.
yeah, it doesn't get more dead.
Yeah. do you think do you think that kind of going along with that, do you think that American Christians have little faith or they don't have a lot of faith? Wait, how am I trying to word it? Everyone, okay. Do you know how many times I've heard people say, "Oh my goodness, I just want to go to a different country or whatever to see miracles happen." Right? Um I've prayed like I feel like I've been so blessed to have seen so many different miracles. Like I watched my dad pray for so many people, they were healed. Obviously it was God through him, not my dad. Um I prayed over so many people and they were healed. It wasn't me. I saw blind eyes open. Literally the craziest thing was she was blind. And Dion, a guy from the Netherlands, he's like, Sierra, I feel like God wants you to lay your hands on her eyes. And I said, I don't think so. And he's like, I think so. She can't see me. I'm a man. You're a woman. And so I'm like, yeah, okay. And he's like, and then you need to pray for her. And I said, but I did. And I knew it was right, right? Her eyes were like cloudy gray white. And I'm like, I mean, did I have faith? I don't know, a little bit. But I'm like, I command these eyes to open in the name of Jesus. And literally, I took my hands off and I saw her eyes turn brown, complete brown. We were all like flabbergasted. Nobody said anything. And then she like made eye contact with me and she's like, praise God. And I said,
That's so cool.
because like what else was I gonna say, except yes, amen.
Right.
Was it in a different country? Yes, but I have seen so many miracles happen here in America, in the States, right? um but why do we not, the question is, why don't we see it as prevalent within the States as we do in other countries? Is it because of the lack of faith?
Um,
And I don't, okay,
I think it's some of a lack of faith, but it's also a lot of people, how do I say this? They don't want to get medical help. They just rather pray when there's a hospital right next door. So at the same time, it's like, yeah,
Wait, they don't want to pray.
they want
They
to
they
pray.
want to pray, but there's a hospital right there, so they
Yeah.
go there. Yeah. This
So
is
they don't go to the hospital
oh.
because they think it's somehow more spiritual to just pray for it. And it's
Oh, no,
like
I hear you.
there
I'm
is
following you.
there is a hospital right there that will
Yeah.
help you.
Hmm.
And like did God not provide that? Like,
Exactly.
so I think
Exactly.
there's some of that where we are very blessed.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think is miracles that happen, and there is also a lot of miracles that happen through the medical system
Yeah.
and through hospitals and stuff. So I don't think, yeah, I mean there's a lot of miracles that do happen that we just don't hear about in the States. And at the same time as the
It's true.
people, the trying to figure out how to describe them, but the do everything natural, and we're just going to pray about it, and we're just
Oh,
like, yeah, that's
that's
I'm glad you have faith, but there's something that would also fix the problem,
yeah.
and it's right there for you, and you're not doing anything about it. It's kind of like
Mhm.
the guy who's stuck on the roof of his house during a flood, and he's like, he prays to God, he's like, God save me, and then a boat comes by, and he's like, no,
And he
no,
doesn't get in the
yeah,
boat.
God's gonna save me, and then yeah, and then water keeps rising, and a helicopter comes. He's like, no, no, God's gonna save me, and then he dies, and
Yeah.
he goes to heaven, and God's like, I sent you a boat, I sent you all this stuff, and you
Yeah.
said no. So I think,
There's that aspect of
yeah.
it
So
too.
I don't know, but yeah, there's also a lack of faith too, and
But not in the sense. I do want to quick clarify one thing. Some people say, "Oh, you're not going to be healed because you don't have faith."
yeah,
That no,
yeah, I don't
that
agree with that.
really really angers me. I was going to say other words, but we're on the podcast, so we're keeping it. But like that really frustrates me because that's not it either.
Right.
And then the person might die. Oh, you didn't have enough
Yeah,
faith. No, that's not the type of. That's not what I'm talking about.
I don't think that's who God is. He's not
No.
like pray another 5 minutes and then it'll happen. Well,
Mhm.
I don't think. I mean, yeah, your faith can grow through time, but if you have faith and you want to do the will of God and you pray for something, if God wants it to happen, it'll happen.
It'll happen.
And the whole trying to achieve, like, we're not to achieve miracles. We're not like that. That is, these are gifts from God.
Yeah.
And like the lady who her eyes were open, it's like, imagine if you would have had to pray, or if you would have prayed like 10 seconds less or whatever, like, and it's you're taking that into your own hands and trying to, it lifts the people up, is what, when it's like, oh look, I prayed enough, I had enough of faith, and this happened. You didn't pray enough, you didn't have enough of faith, and it didn't happen. So it puts the pressure back on the person instead of it's actually God moving. So God is sovereign, he can do what he wants. Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about, we want to have, see, I don't know what more faith is. Like, if you have faith, I don't know how you get more faith.
You just need the size of a mustard seed, right? But then some people have the size of, I don't know. But
yeah, faith is faith, and
faith is faith.
Yeah, so
it's true. That's a. How do you get more faith? It's a good question.
So yeah, I don't, the whole, you didn't have enough of faith, you didn't pray enough. I don't know. But to me, that's a little.
That's just stupid.
Twisted, but
it's just stupid.
Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? That's how. There's so many things where I have all these thoughts and ideas, and it's like, but I have no life experience. I haven't done anything.
Well, I mean.
So yeah, I don't know.
But then we do hear the stories, and I have like a friend who prayed for a person, and a broken leg, prayed, and he's like, hey, is the leg, like, because the guy, he had broke it like the week before, and was in a lot of pain that night, and so one of my friends was praying for him, and he's like, oh, some of the pain left. And so my friend prayed again. He ended up praying 3 times for him. Homeboy done went to the hospital the next day, and his broken leg was completely, the doctors are like, wait, what just happened? Like, these are the scans. and it's completely fine, right? And so in that aspect, he prayed 3 times, and then it was like healed.
Hmm.
So we have all these different
Right. Yeah. I
we
don't
have
think
all these stories, all
I.
like so many different things, right? And they're miracles, and we can't understand. We don't understand. It's just God doing his
Well,
thing.
yeah. I
But
think I think that's the part where is we walk in obedience,
yeah,
and
oh,
if
that's good.
I don't
It's
think we need to try
obedience
to apply other situations and
to
like they did this over here, we're gonna
so
do
we're
this
gonna do it
here, and
here.
it's
Yeah,
gonna
no,
work.
that's
No,
true.
it's what is God asking you to do, and then
Hmm.
do that. And
And I think that's such a good point. I think a lot of people try to mimic
right, we try to
other people.
make systems
Yeah,
and stuff, and it's like, okay, hang on. Then you come up with a formula, and then you have a bunch of weird stuff, and then
yeah.
eventually you get a cult or something.
I know.
That's what it kind of.
we we know about
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
I
So
mean, not that,
not
but
personalized, but
like people who have been in them
oh,
or are, but
yeah,
yeah. But no, that's actually a good point. I actually didn't think about that. People okay, so 2024, it seems like 2024 was the year where everybody tries is like trying to sell everything. Like they come up with a formula. Here's how to make money
right,
without working.
yeah,
Here's how to do this without actually doing it, right? And then they sell these courses that are ridiculous, and they make money because people are idiot. People are not thinking,
and then
um,
they buy that
and then
stuff,
they
and
buy
and
it,
then the
and
person
it
makes
doesn't
money with it.
work. Yeah, the person makes
Yeah,
money, but like they
yeah,
aren't getting the results
right.
because it's yeah.
Just
And
get a job.
exactly, get a job. And so I think this is kind of like what happens with people who are told, "Oh, you don't have enough faith." They do what they saw someone else do instead of just doing what they should do,
Right.
like
Yeah.
in the moment.
Yeah.
Like even if they feel
Exactly.
like this is what I should do, they don't do it because they've never seen it done that way, and then they do what they've seen.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what Christianity is. It's a walk with God, and
Hmm.
it's a personal relationship. So it's
Yeah.
not. It's yeah. You don't have to mimic somebody else's relationship or whatever with God. You have your own,
Yeah.
and yeah, God will guide you as you walk. So um, yeah, I think we can take comfort in that. We don't have to be super concerned about where we end up. But
Yeah. You know how cultures are changing and Gen Alpha is a whole new breed? How that do you think the church is going to change culturally?
hmm,
I mean, it's kind of like it seems like every so many generations, like there's a culture shift,
right.
right? Um, dude, they have their own language now. What the Sigma? Skibbity toilet. Like what? No, like why? Why?
Yeah.
Why? I
Um,
mean, but we did too. Okay, this is making me sound really old. Do you know what the most infuriating thing is? When I see a reel on Instagram and they're asking Gen Z kids, you're Gen Z, they're asking Gen Z kids or Gen Alpha, like, how old is old? And they say 2001.
oh, that's that's close to me too. So I
Well,
wouldn't say that.
when were you born? 2002?
Three.
Oh, I give
And
up. I just
well, yeah,
and they're saying 2000, some people are saying 2005 is old, and I'm like,
yeah, 2005. No, that's
I just no. Anyway, but it's a whole new Gen Alpha is a whole new they're a whole new people. They're a whole new people group.
right. I I'm very I guess optimistic because we have access to everything we want,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people falling into that pit, but there's also going to be um, people that come out of this generation and are going to be like, okay, technology, you have everything you need.
Hmm.
Why does everybody's life suck? And we want to change
Yeah.
it. And there's going to be people that rise above it and actually lead.
Yeah.
Use these tools for what they need to be used for and lead amazing lives.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's exciting to me because I mean, yeah, there's probably gonna be somebody that will doom scroll to death, but there's gonna be other people. There's a flip side to that where there's gonna be people that are going to lead very fulfilling lives.
Yeah,
And there's a hunger for that. Like people don't,
there is.
there's a lot of, yeah, you hear a lot from the older generation. Oh, this next generation is just terrible. But I don't really think it's going to be that way.
I'm
I'm
actually,
kind of here to prove them wrong.
yeah,
And
do it, do it.
so,
Okay, so actually Gen Z, I think Gen Z is a generation, like your generation is like a great generation who is actually very hungry for truth. Millennials, we quit the church thing a long time ago, right? Try to find try to find a I've been to the church that I currently go to. Am I the only single millennial there? Yes.
hmm,
It's fine. There are there are married ones, but like when it comes to like single people, um they don't really, unless you go to a mega church or
right.
something.
Then they're
They're
radicalized somewhere.
everywhere,
Yeah.
you know. They're but like and it's statistically proven too, millennials all just like left the church because of so much hypocrisy and hurt. And they were the generation where someone just taps you and they got hurt. They're like, oh my goodness, you hurt
Yeah.
me. I am so offended.
Right.
And then
That's
they
kind of
hold
what it is.
grudges, right? And then
Yeah.
Gen Z is like,
They don't really care.
whatever,
Yeah. I mean,
you know?
they're so callous to whatever they see
Yeah.
online. They're
Millennials
just
are
like,
so touchy.
yeah. No,
Like,
I mean,
not me. I like to think that I'm not one of I very much am proud of my millennialism, but like I'm not one of those
yeah.
people.
No, I would see that there's definitely in the younger people there's a hunger there, and I
Mm,
think there is in every generation, but there's definitely there was a lot of bad theology out there
yeah.
that is getting exposed more and more.
Yeah.
And so kind of that, and the other thing is you can look up stuff. Like you can
Mhm.
look up, like let's say, I mean, you're in the Amish. Well, you can Google stuff, what stuff actually means. You go, wait, hang on, this stuff doesn't, what I believe doesn't make sense
Mhm.
according to all these resources and stuff. So there's a lot of that going on too, where I
Yeah.
think maybe the millennial generation just kind of reacted to a lot of those things,
Yeah.
where the next generation has the information to actually figure some of this
Yeah.
stuff
They're
out.
actually
And
doing the research.
yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. You said Amish. You mentioned the Amish. Okay, so my question is, how are Amish still gonna exist in like, a couple generations when everyone has cell phones? I mean, not like s- n- Lancaster Amish. We're talking Lancaster. We're not talking um the Swartz and Trooper Amish.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Well,
but like I'm like, how are they still gonna exist? Because like they have phones, they understand, they realize that what they're being taught, and this is like,
yeah.
what's the point?
I mean, there's a lot of that going on right now. There's quite a few. There's a lot of Amish drama right now.
We're here
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
Amish
for
drama.
sure. It's fun to watch. No, but I think there's still going to be people that keep doing that type
Yeah.
of lifestyle.
Also, it's the culture.
Yeah,
Like it's
and
a
people kind of like the simpler life, so they'll probably keep doing it. There's a lot of change coming though. There's people that this does not make sense, and we're going to do
Mhm.
something about it. So I don't know. I think it's going to change a lot, but I think there's always going to be
It's always gonna be Amish.
there's some pretty strict Amish out there, and I think that's going to stay
Yeah.
that way. But yeah, there's a lot of change coming, so
Okay.
who knows where that'll lead. But there's a few, I don't know, there's in the last year there's a few groups of people that have started different churches among the Amish, and like kind of different Amish churches. Kind of it's a whole thing.
Do they still drive horse and buggies?
Yeah, for now.
Oh,
So
do they have electricity?
I mean,
Well,
some of
technically,
them,
yes.
yeah. And they have
So they
sports
started a
zones.
different group of Amish.
Yeah, there's a few different groups that came up. So I don't know
Why
where.
can't they just like? Do you know how many type of Mennonites and Amish are in Lancaster County?
Enough.
Like, Anabaptist denominations?
Yeah. I
Over
don't know.
100. My dad had told us the one time because he counted them all because he has a book of all of them, I guess. It was like 132 or something. That is,
That's wild. In Lancaster County.
yeah, and that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So,
And that's another thing where it can be frustrating, and you can. Um, I started trying to look at Lancaster County as instead of looking at all the churches in opposition of each other, look at it kind of as a big church, and you have different churches have their different strengths. So it almost balances itself out in a way. So that's the optimistic
We had the
way to
7
look at it.
churches.
Yeah.
Well, now we got the 132.
Yeah.
And there's them.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for frustration with all the different, like, oh, I disagree, so I'm just going to start another church. There's a lot of that. And then there's also a lot of, there is the more spirit-filled churches, and they're like super into the gifts. And then there's a very grounded,
Biblically theology.
yeah, like on that side. So they're kind of
Theological.
almost,
Reformed.
yeah, they wouldn't always necessarily get along. You put them in the same room, I don't know what would happen, but it balances itself out because you have
No, I
that.
hear
You have both sides, and then you can always, if you leave the one, you can go to the other one because you're so mad at the first one. So, and you're still going to church.
It's true. It's true.
So,
You're going to the church. You're not necessarily plugged in,
right.
but you're going. Yeah, it's true. That's true. The Alpha generation. I don't know what comes after that, because at that point, so how do you think churches get? What do you think when they're no longer the Gen Alpha, but they're like 3 generations above? Well, there's 2 generations below Gen Alpha. Whenever that happens, so they'll be my age or whatever or older. What do you think the church is going to look like?
So the first thing that comes to mind is the next couple generations are going to be so tired of Forrest Frank, they'll probably start singing hymns again.
That's so funny. They don't know him, so
Yeah,
no. Gen Z people don't even know
yeah,
him.
exactly. So
That's so funny. You're gonna have to learn them. That's YouTube. Forrest Frank. Oh. Have you been to a Forrest Frank concert?
now I thought about going. I think he's coming to Pennsylvania sometime soon. But
Okay, he was in a group of kids that I know all went to a Forrest Frank.
okay,
Yeah, I'll take the kids and then I'll be there, but like
right.
me going to a Forrest Frank concert,
I would definitely go with a group of people just to have fun.
You
That
just-
would be
that- that's
would
what that-
be,
yeah.
It would actually be fun. But
it would definitely be a vibe.
but I wouldn't go there by myself.
Now
and
I'm thinking
have-
it's No, that's so funny because I was thinking what is worship? Because what is worship gonna look like?
right.
Because I mean they have a whole new language, and do you see the reels that people put up on social media with?
Man, I sent you.
Was that you?
Yeah. Every once in a while, I'll see one. I'm just blown away. The other day, my algorithm was all just weird church stuff, and I'm just like every reel is just like cringe.
It's
and then you go to the
cringe.
comments, and it's even
the
worse.
comments. I'm there for the comments.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
There's I have 20 people that I send reels to every single day. Arlen's not on Instagram right now,
Yeah,
but
he was top. And
he was the guy that we had the weirdest when it came to him. My algorithm and church and weird. It was weird. Snake handling.
Yeah, that video. Is
Did he show you that documentary?
Somebody did. Yeah, and it's wild. I mean, they get bit by snakes just so they can be.
The one guy died.
Yeah. It's so weird.
I sent it to the family chat. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But people do weird church things.
Very weird.
And that's what I saw, coming from hick countries Virginia, West Virginia.
Is it?
It's hick, man. I would never. I couldn't.
Yeah.
No, there's no way.
People walk away
If that's
from
all
that,
I
yeah.
would, if that's all I would know, I would not do it. We have, and then you have the apostolic Pentecost, the Pentecostal, the weird Pentecostal with the ladies who get up and say, "Thus saith the Lord."
Yep.
And then they preach to one person and say, "You are sinning," all this and that.
Right. Yeah, it would be scary.
I think I sent Arlen a reel where this one lady was praying and crying and doing all the things. It was a Pentecostal holiness church. I went to a holiness school growing up, a Pentecostal, okay? So, but nothing against them. But this lady was crying and praying and saying, if someone is not saved, they better get out of this church or block them from coming into church. I'm like, what is the point?
Yeah.
What is the point of church?
There's stuff like that where it just
And they were
doesn't
all
make any sense.
wailing and crying, and I'm like, that is not the point of the gospel. That is not the point of Christianity. Like, no.
It's so. See, I'm one where I stroke like worship. I'm not one to like show a ton of emotion.
Mhm.
So it's like stuff like that. It's just, I mean, I don't have to do all that to realize how great God is. Like I can just stand there with my hands in my pocket and just go like,
You're one of those
wow.
people who are just like,
Sometimes depends on the day. No, I'm trying to do better on
you
it.
try to be a little bit more expressive.
Yeah, it doesn't. Like God is amazing on the way to church when I'm sitting there
Yeah.
thinking, and He's just as amazing during songs. And yeah,
Yes, with your hands in your pocket. Yeah,
well,
it's
I'm
okay.
done. I'm trying to work on that. But,
It's
and
all
then-
good.
then you're
It's all
like-
good. It's all good.
then you have the weird thoughts of like, oh, I should let people think I don't even like worshiping or whatever. So I should raise
You
my
should
hands.
reach it because they think.
And then it's like, wait, then you're like this, and you're like, hang on, now I'm doing it for the wrong reason. So I have to take my head down.
I think you're overthinking, Christian.
Yeah, that.
That's so funny. But I get you. I get you. Like I hear you. Especially when you see all the things, man.
Yeah.
Whew. But yeah, no, it can be easy to like all of a sudden everybody's jumping and everybody's doing not at your church, but well maybe
Not yet. No,
Not yet.
no. Actually, I won't spearhead that either.
No.
So
and then it's like I need to fit in, man. I gotta jump too.
yeah, so
I don't-
then you're
you know,
just trying
like,
to fit in, and
it's so-
you're probably just insecure.
You can't be secure and just stand there like,
Yeah.
you know? And that's so funny. No, I love that. Oh my goodness. Well,
I had one thought where
yes.
I was
Say
like,
your thought.
this is too good. So I was thinking about podcasts, obviously, because we started one, and
Yeah.
then I was coming here, and I'm like, what would be the equivalent of a podcast in the 1800s? And
1800. Wait,
Yeah,
what
like,
happened in the 1800s?
I mean, lots of things, and a lot of nothing too, because they didn't have anything to do. But it would be, so a podcast, you listen to it by yourself.
Mhm.
Most of the time, it's not a group of people watching a podcast. So in order for the equivalent to be in effect, it would be like, in the 1800s, two people would be like, okay, we want to have a conversation, but let's invite one person to like look through the window and just watch us. That's literally what it is. Watch us talk
Yeah, because there's no way they
by
can
yourself.
get it out.
Yeah, exactly. That would be the.
That's so funny.
And it's like don't say a word, just watch. And
Yeah.
if you don't want your input, sit there and consume the content and leave. And that's literally what we're asking all these people to do.
Dude,
So yeah, that was just a wild thought I had.
that is funny. I never thought of that before. Wow. But that's actually accurate.
So yeah, that was one of those thoughts that just kind of popped in, and I was like, I have to get that one out sometime.
Yeah. That was good. I love it. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast, Christian.
Hey, thanks for the invite.
Yes. And I will definitely link your podcast below
Sweet.
in the description because that's what people say.
Right. And then what am I supposed to say? Like
And subscribe.
Yeah, there it is. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. I will catch you guys all in the next podcast. Bye.